Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of our Booster Club members for your many donations and much more, your prayers. We visited faraway countries and strange lands. We've even spoken to dignitaries and were detained for spreading the glorious gospel in Cuba. The truth is that the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel were scattered throughout the world. Help us on our journey as we continue to raise up the nation of Israel. 12 tribes worldwide. Join or donate today. Shalom.
Hey, shalom, everybody. Happy Sabbath to everybody again. All praise to the Most High. We back in the sanctuary. I'm telling you, get the Lord a hand for that. Because it's been trying, it's been a test, and one thing that you're going to find out being an Israelite, that you're going to find out that your faith going to be tried. You're going to be tested. That's just what Israelites do. We're going to go through the scriptures a little bit. We're going to find out some of the things that we've done, and we're going to see what gets us in trouble with the Most High. And we're going to see how it is that He's going to give us the victory, too. And there again, you know, we're just glad to be back in the sanctuary. I think there's a lot that's going on. It's glad to have you brothers that came here. But real quick, Officer Nahshon, give me 6 and 44. Because when I was watching and listening, you all were saying you was Greensboro from Charlotte, John 6:44, chapter 6, verse 44. Because you just don't show up at the Most High doorstep. You just don't come. He don't call anybody. He know who He's dealing with. What we have to do is build up our faith that we can have a spirit of endurance. But the calling, no question about it. Let's see what it says.
John chapter 6 and verse 44. No man can come to me except the Father which have sent me draw him.
Nobody is coming in this truth. Nobody is coming in here and not be called. Everybody has a calling. We get around brothers and stuff, we want to make sure that everybody understands it has nothing to do with rank, but it has everything to do with your calling. That's why it says in Peter's that make your calling and your election sure. When you come into this gospel, that's what it is. You come to do a work for the Most High. That's what we're in here doing. Our war and our fight and our battle is not inside the church. It's outside against those other nations that's coming against us, like Deacon was bringing out earlier. I'm telling you, that's where our war is. It's good to come among the brethren. Be glad when the Sabbath comes. I can be around the brothers. You should look and want that thing. Because all week long you've been tested and tried and you're enduring. You're battling there's some front, there's some war that you're battling with. Let's get that 10:32 Matthews. Give me some more of that. Is it 32 or 36? Because we have to understand this is about war. This is what when you come into Israel, when we come into repentance, and what it is that Deacon was bringing out earlier, there's a couple of things we'll touch on too. I was talking to the officers up here. Don't get it twisted. People hate you, but then we act like we can't hate nobody. I'm not saying we say we know we ain't no hate group, but people hate us. To be in this country, you hated of your enemies. Just being here, we hated of the other nations. So don't get it twisted. Read that, Officer Nahshon.
Matthew chapter 10 and verse 36. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household.
And a man's trial is going to be those that he loved the most. Read on.
Verse 37. He that loveth father or mother more than me.
Don't put nobody before the Most High. Don't put your job, your education. Don't put nobody before the Most High. I'm telling you straight. You got to love Him with fear. And I said that right. You have to love Him with fear, in reverence. Read on.
He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me.
You're not going to get the kingdom. That's going to be what you're going to have to endure. That's the thing that we're going to have to overcome. It's just going to be a trial of our faith. So, with that, is that all that, Officer Nahshon?
And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me.
You're not, there again, the kingdom is not set for you because your mind is never, you're unstable. You've been tossed to and fro. You never got your spirit right. You never got your mind right. And so we've been dealing with for weeks on end, and here on the Bible, the book of our fathers, it's been come out of her, my people, for a while. And so I got hooked on that thing just like everybody else have. And if you've been watching on Friday nights at 6 p.m., you know, we got a radio show that goes across Israel and that we try to edify people. And it's still that thought, because that's what they've been saying. And it's imperative that we come out from these other nations. We have to come out from them. Yes, you hear, but this is not our home. We know this is not our rest. We know that. We know that without a shadow of a doubt. So we have to transition our thoughts and our minds to get our mind on going back to where we came from. We're going to touch on some of the things that gets us in trouble. So the class in of itself is that we are coming out of her. But it said, but let us return. That's what we want to do. We want to return. That's the purpose of what we're here for, to return. Our purpose is, we done built up the country. It's already been established here. We endured some of the curses, and we're going to touch on those things. Also, Nahshon, give me that in 2 Corinthians 6 and 14.
2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers.
Paul here was actually dealing with the church, just like we're dealing with our brothers and sisters too. And what happens is a lot of times that we can find ourselves not being carried about, like I said earlier, not being sure what it is that we can do. And so Paul was struggling with the church, and he was trying to let them know, listen, y'all need to get your minds right. He told them, listen, you don't need to be coming back and forth. You need to make sure that you understand what it is that you must do. So he begins to tell them, and he begins to rebuke them or guide them in verse 14. Read it from the top again.
Verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers.
And so for us, this is us coming out from a lot of these other nations. Coming out from these nations that we are up under and the things that they practice. We're called to keep the commandments. That's what we're to do. We're to keep the commandments. And what has happened, being in captivity, we have came in and over a course of time, we've gotten away from what we used to get, like being here. Let me give an example. When early on in slavery, we was running trying to go back home. I don't see nobody trying to run out of America now. Why we ain't trying to run now? What's done happened? We done got too doggone comfortable. Talking about we living good. We over there in the hood. No, we fooling ourselves. This is captivity. This is not comfortable, and this is not our home. Give me that 4 and 26 of Galatians. We want to go home, but this is not our home. We'll come back.
Galatians chapter 4 and verse 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
Are we free, brothers? So read that again.
But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
When we get back home, then we're going to be free. You ain't free in this captivity. You paying for everything. Ain't no freedom here for you. And don't even think about it. Ain't no freedom for your kids either, because the curses fall on them too. We have to get to the point where we understand that we have to be, it says in Ecclesiastes, a wise man, we have to get to the point where we're a little angry, where we're a little mad. And we're going to touch on it. We're going to see that the other nations, they don't like you. We got to get to the place where we hate them too. All right, we'll touch on that. We'll touch on it. Officer Nahshon, go back to where I had you at. Let's go back to 2 Corinthians 6 and 14.
2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers.
Come out from the other nations, read.
For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness?
What is it? We was given the commandments, and we don't need to be dealing with people that don't keep God's commandments. Read.
And what communion have light with darkness?
And so the difference is that we're the children of God, and they are of the devil. Read.
Verse 15. And what concord have Christ with Belial?
Read.
Or what part have he that believeth with an infidel? Verse 16. And what agreement have the temple of God with idols?
So we don't have nothing to do with it. It's telling us that to come out from among them and be ye separate. Don't deal with the other nations. Read on.
For ye are the temple of the living God.
But we are the children of God. Read.
As God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people.
When we keep the commandments, we show forth the light that should go across the earth, where men may see our good works in the Father in heaven is glorified. When we begin to do those things that God has given us, which are keeping the commandments. When you go out, when we go out and we see our people and we go out and we see what's going on, you look across, the murders don't stop because we keep the commandments. The people don't stop robbing. The sin don't go away. The difference is that they hadn't repented, and we all have came and tried to keep keeping God's commandments. That's the difference between us and our brothers. Christ ain't came back yet. We're trying to endure it to the end. So now this is the window of grace that they have a chance to repent and come home. And so when we seen y'all brothers stand up and y'all begin to tell us that y'all come from different parts, as though y'all been waiting. You can tell y'all been waiting. You've been languishing. And so it was good that y'all was astute, that y'all was able to find out, that the school was open and y'all was being vigilant and keeping up with that. And you showed up this Sabbath. All praises to the Most High. But we got to return, get to the place, let us return. That's what we want to do. But let's see some of the things that has gotten us in trouble. So with that, Officer Nahshon, let's go to Leviticus. Give me 26 and verse 40.
Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 40.
Uh-huh.
If they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespass, which they trespassed against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies.
That's what we are. This is the land of our enemies. I wanted to make sure that we seen that this is not home. This is a place where an enemy is. When you're in the land of your enemies, this is going to be a place of oppression. It's going to be a place of captivity. It's not going to be a place for you of rest. It's going to be hardship. It's going to be straight bondage. And I'm telling you, that's what we are in. We don't see the shackles, but we are in bondage here. We don't rule, we don't reign, we don't own nothing. We're striving just to make sure we can put food on the table. We're doing all we can. That's why we got to become as a nation. That's why we got to become as one man. That's why we have to gather ourselves together as the elect of God. We have to. We're going to have to assist and help one another. That's how we're going to make it through. Read on.
If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity.
And that's what it is, that we have to accept the punishment. And we've been through hell and high water here. There's no doubt about it, brothers. And what gets Israel in trouble? How do we get in trouble? Let's see what we do wrong. Give me that in Judges 3 and verse, I think it is 3. Start at verse 3. Judges 3 and 3. Is that, yeah. Yeah, Judges 3 and 3.
Judges chapter 3 and verse 3. Namely, 5 lords of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites, and the Sidonines, and the Hivites, that dwell in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal-Hermon unto the entering in of Hamath. Verse 4. And they were to prove Israel by them, to know whether they would hearken unto the commandments of the Lord, which he commanded their fathers by the hand of Moses.
That goes back to what we was talking about earlier, is that we have to hearken. We're the ones that was given the commandments. We're the ones that have to hearken unto the commandments. Read on.
Verse 5. And the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites, Hittites, and Amorites, and Perizzites, and Hivites, and Jebusites. And they took their daughters to be their wives, and gave their daughters to their sons, and served their gods. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord.
And the children of Israel did what?
Evil in the sight of the Lord.
When we don't do what it is that's commanded of us, there's judgment for that thing. And here we was in captivity. Is it going to say how long we was in captivity here? Read on.
And forget the Lord their God.
And we forgot this. We stopped keeping the commandments. We went a horn. Read on. Following after other gods in idolatry. Read.
And served Baalim in the groves. Verse 8. Therefore the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. And he sold them into the hand of the Chishinrish.
For how long?
Oh, man. The king of Mesopotamia and the children of Israel served Chishin 8 years.
We was in captivity, in this captivity for 8 years. We was here for 8 years because we didn't hearken unto the Lord, because we stopped keeping the commandments. This is a captivity. Even go back and let's go back into the Egyptian captivity. 15 and 13 of Genesis. What it is that Israel gets in trouble, and it said here that we was going to serve for 400 years in this Egyptian captivity. We served here in this captivity, Mesopotamia captivity, for 8 years. Read that, Officer Nahshon. 15 and 13, Genesis 15, 13.
Genesis chapter 15 and verse 13.
Uh-huh.
And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
That's the thing that we have to understand, that we have to return, because when we don't do, and when we have not done what it is that the Most High has charged us to do, we get in trouble with the Most High. It said that a while ago we made him angry. We made him, that he was upset with us. And every captivity he put us in, it's because we went a horn. So, Officer Nahshon, give me the captivity of being up under Moab in Judges 3, 12, 13, and 14.
Judges chapter 3 and verse 12. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord. Again.
Read on.
And the Lord strengthened Eglon, the king of Moab, against Israel, because they had done evil in the sight of the Lord.
We went a horn. Read on.
Verse 13. And he gathered unto him the children of Ammon and Amalek, and went and smote Israel, and possessed the city of palm trees. Verse 14. So the children of Israel served Eglon, the king of Moab, 18 years.
We was in this captivity for 18 years. All because what? Because we're not keeping the commandments. We're not keeping the commandments. We're falling up under these nations. Every time we separate ourselves from God, it's always because of sin. And we're here in this captivity because of the same thing. Had nothing changed in Israel. But what we have to do is return and go back to the Most High and keep the commandments. That's the only way we're going to be able to get deliverance. He shows us mercy and grace, even in this captivity. We all done went a horn. Call yourself talking about I'm a sugar daddy. You got to be kidding me. Talking about I'm a player. I just got 3 girlfriends. You got to be kidding me. You can't make this up. Just going a horn. Horn out our daughters. Horn out our sisters. Selling drugs to our people. Didn't care if they died or not, if they overdosed or not. I'm about that money, bruh. I'm about getting them stacks. Hatred for your own people. Let's get some more Officer Nahshon. We ain't going to stop there. Give me that in Judges chapter 4, 2, and 3.
Judges chapter 4, verse 2. And the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, that reigned in Hazar, the captain of whose host was Sisera, which dwelt in Harosheth of the Gentiles. Verse 3. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, for he had 900 chariots of iron, and 20 years he mightily oppressed the children of Israel.
And that's what we're doing. Went again away from, this was a captivity of the Canaanites, of the South African. We was there for over 20 years. And then there's the captivity of the Mennonites. And then there's the Amorites, the Philistine, the Assyrian. It goes on. Even up to this one that we're in now, brothers. It's captivity. It's the same thing, that we separate ourselves from God. Is that Isaiah 59 I want? 59 and 1.
Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 1. Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened, that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy, that it cannot hear. But your iniquities have separated between you and your God.
That's what has happened to us over the times of our different captivities. And we went into these captivities because we have sinned before the Most High. We failed to keep the commandments. That's why that when we come in here and as brothers, that we should have a love for one for another because we're all striving to do the same thing. That's why the difference is between us and the other nation. All we got to do is love one another and keep the commandments. The commandments teach us to love one another. Help, aid, support your brothers. Support this truth. Understanding that there's no hatred. For us to be able to do the things that we're doing, that to help our brothers, that we should want to see them helped. It's that we have to keep the commandments. Read on.
Verse 2. But your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hid his face from you, that he will not hear.
And that's what happened. That they cried unto the Lord many times, say, Lord, we're sorry. We repent, even for us. That's why I like 1 Kings chapter 8. Nahshon, let's get that. Around the 44th, and even when it was in Leviticus 40 and 41, we have to be the one that come to the place where we understand that we done wrong to the Most High. And when we had it good, so-called in our own neighborhood, we didn't want to hearken unto him. We didn't want to listen. And yet we had it good. That's what Dick was saying, that we could not believe that, this ain't going to happen to us. Yeah, we heard it. Moses told us, and we went through it. And we have drunk of the cups of the dredges, of imprisonment, of drugs in our community, of self-murder, killing our own people. We went through all that. That in of itself explains captivity. It's been rough on us here. It has not been easy. But the thing of it is that now we can start to see that it's time for us to come back. It's time for us to return. And that's what we're hoping to do. But we could see that we get ourselves in trouble when we separate ourselves from God. And that's why it's so important that we come together as a unified people, not through voting, not through financing, but through keeping God's commandments. That's the thing that's going to uphold us. That's how God is going to avenge us. That's what's going to bring him back to the earth as we begin to assimilate and keep our people of one mind and one spirit. That's what's going to bring forth our deliverance. And you do want to leave this place. We think we got it going on here because we got a key to an apartment and we got a driver license. Driver license is just something that they give you just by doing good. If you don't do right, they'll take them from you. That ain't nothing.
Hey, Cap, that's the same thing with the Father. You do good, you're going to get the kingdom. If not, he's showing you the pattern that he's going to keep doing to you. Can we get real quick, Cap, just Jeremiah 2 and 14.
Jeremiah 2. You got it also?
Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 14. He keep hitting us with the same pattern over and over because we refuse to serve his law, statutes, and commandments. Watch this.
The book of Jeremiah chapter 2 verse 14. Is Israel a servant?
Is Israel a servant? Why does this question have to be asked? Because like Captain Decar's bringing out, over and over, due to our disobedience, we keep going into slavery. Is Israel a servant? Read on.
Is he a homeborn slave?
Was he made just to be a slave? We was in the Egyptian captivity, the Babylon captivity, Syrian, Persian Mede, Greek, Roman, and now here in America. Read on.
Why is he spoiled?
Why is he spoiled? Why is he destroyed? Because we refuse to keep God's commandments. And that's what Captain's touching on, is that we have to come back together and keeping the commandments so we can get the kingdom and continue to grow. That's all I got, Cap.
Yeah, go ahead, Officer Peter.
Hey, that's heavy. That's heavy what they're bringing out. Just like the officer Nahshon brought out the major captivities, Captain is bringing out these smaller captivities that we was in captivity to Moab for 8 years, Canaanites for 18 years. So y'all remember this and where to find this at, the captivity due to smaller captivities. Because we, throughout the whole Bible, we in and out. We in and out. We go right back. We messing right back up all over again. We get our tails handed to us all over again. So remember this. Well, where to find this at? With Moab and the Canaanites. 18 years, 8 years. That's all I got, Cap.
So, being in these nations and we come up under them and we serve here and being in captivity, being disloyal to the Most High and not doing what he commanded us to do. There's judgment, and these nations know, and they hold us captive like this, and they know who we are. They know who we are. We have to wake up to who we are. We have to come back to ourselves. We have to bethink ourselves in the land of our captivity. So, give me that, Nahshon. Let's go to the book of Psalms 94. The book of Psalms 94, and pick it up at verse 20 and 21.
Psalms chapter 94 and verse 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee?
That's what the Most High. That's what Paul was saying back in 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and 14. This is what he was saying. He was going in on that there's a difference between the righteous, the temple of God, and idols. This is what it's been brought out again here. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with us? Should those other nations have fellowship with us? Should they get the kingdom with us? Read on.
Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law?
And we see how our people get prosecuted, and the law allows them to go free. The same thing that we can get in trouble for, that we get in trouble and serve 40 years for it, and they get to go to rehab for it. It's mischief by law. It says that, read the Nahshon, which frameth
mischief by a law.
Read on.
Verse 21. They gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous.
And that's what they're doing. They're gathering against us. They're gathering against us. You have to understand, these other nations, they come against us. We're the righteous. You're not liked here. You have to think like that. You have to know that you're not accepted here. They prove this to us over and over again. We're sitting there trying to get these people to like us. We're trying to get these people to accept us. We're trying to assimilate with these people. We want to be equal to these people. You ain't doing but bringing yourself down.
Thinking your vote gonna count.
Yeah, thinking your vote gonna count. Talking about I voted. You see my little patch? Giving you stickers, laughing at you going out the door. Don't make no sense. Read on.
Verse 21. They gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. Verse 20.
That's it. And that's what's happening. We're the righteous, and we're the ones keeping God's commandments. But you can see that our people can still put their hands up and still get shot down. They can sit there and say, I can't breathe, and still die.
That man was pleading for his life before he got out the car.
Yes.
When no threat.
And the other one brother that kind of went, the one that had showed, I forgot his name, but he was scared. And they told him to turn around. And they put his hands up, hold up his shirt. Gave him all those commands. And he just got scared, got back in the car and drove off. Yeah. And died that day. It's just innocent blood. That's what it's talking about here. Give me Psalms 139, 21, Officer Nahshon. I know you had a scripture. I'm going to read this one now. I'll fall back and let you. Psalms 139 and 21.
Psalms chapter 139 and verse 21. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee?
So the question is asked, do not I hate them that hate thee? And that's what I was speaking on a moment ago. Somehow we thinking, we're not to hate nobody. But it says, read that from the top again, Officer Nahshon.
Do not I hate them, O Lord.
Do not I hate them, O Lord. Read.
That hate thee.
That hate you, Lord.
And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee?
That's what we're going to go back to. There's those that rises up against the Most High. We have to understand that we have an enemy here. Right. And you're going to have to set your mind to battle, brothers.
Right.
That's what it is. We're in the war. We're in the war for our lives. And I'm telling you, You have to come on in here and understand that this is what it's about. It's a battle. It is a battle. Officer Nahshon, go back to where I was at. Go back to, did you read 22? Yeah.
Not yet.
Okay, reading up to 22.
You want that one.
Yeah.
Verse 22. I hate them with perfect hatred.
That's what it is. If they hate you and you turn around and hate them back, read that again, Officer Nahshon.
I hate them with perfect hatred.
Read on.
I count them my enemies.
That's what they are to you. They're enemies. Those are the other nations. Paul said, come out from among you and be ye separate. You have nothing to do with them. He's giving us counsel. He's giving us guidance. We have to heed to what he's trying to tell us to do. Yeah, you work for him. You have to go, you're trying to provide for your family. And that's what we're doing. We're just in captivity. It doesn't change your status. They still your enemy when you punch out off the clock.
Right, Cap. That's where it stops. Right there. Right at work. After work. You don't have to deal with them any longer. Some people going out having drinks, having dinner. Yeah. You don't got to. You don't got to do that. But go ahead, Cap. I just wanted to say that real quick.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Go give me Psalms 83 and Psalms. Go back to Psalms 94 and 16. That's what it is. Because it says here that it said that they was our enemies, and it said to rise up against thee. That's what it was. So go back to Psalms 94 and 16.
Psalms chapter 94 verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Who will rise up for me against the evildoers?
That's what we were talking about over there a while ago in Psalms 139. They're evil. They're your enemies. So the Most High is asking, who's going to rise up against us? Who's going to go against them? Who's going to engage them? Who's going to battle against them? Read on.
Who will rise up for me against the evildoers?
Who's going to do it for the truth? Who's going to do it for the nation of Israel? We have to ask ourselves these questions. We're doing it for our nation. We're doing it for our people and our wives and our children. I think that's what ASAP said it like that. Yeah.
And the point right here, Cap, is say, who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Okay, he asking a question because you ain't just finna, when you rise up against the workers of iniquity, then it's gonna be they're gonna come at you with something. They're gonna label you. So that's why God is asking the question, who gonna rise up for me? You ain't just gonna rise up for God in this wicked land and not be some kickback from them. So he's asking the question, who willing to rise up for me and deal with the persecution that's gonna come behind it?
Let's see who the enemy is. You're right, officer. Give me Psalms 83. Is that what I want? Psalms 83. Let's see who these enemies are.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 1. You want to start at 1?
Start at 1, but Officer Nahshon, it goes back. Don't lose the thought, brothers, that those that hate, he said that those that hate me, they hate the Lord.
Hate his ways.
They hate him and his children, meaning they hate you.
Right.
Don't lose the thought, brothers. Read that.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 1. Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God.
And when he said this, you got to imagine in your mind, he said, Lord, don't hold back on these people for what they done to us and what we had the price that we had to pay. He was like, Lord, loose that, tat them up, Lord. Tat them asses in the Bible. Read on.
Verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
This is what we're talking about, brothers. That's what we got to understand. It's saying it again. This is a precept. Those that hate thee, they said, for lo, thy enemies. They are enemies. That's who they are. We have to accept that and get it. Just you have to rehearse that in your spirit, brothers. You have to. You can't look at them because they talking about there's some of them good. No, they ain't. They're your enemies. You know, all of them ain't bad. No, they ain't. They're your enemies. They helped me out. They gave me a job, gave me a car. You got to be kidding me. They're your enemies. Don't change the thought. You better stick with the Most High. Yeah, go ahead.
And we must not lose the thought of the fact that we are the conquered. We ain't come over here against. We ain't just freely come over here. We still the conquered. We still went to war with them. They came and took us down. We got to realize we can't miss that fact that they conquered us and drug us over here in chains. We are the conquered. We are the war captives, and it don't change. I don't care how many years it been. We are still the war captives.
I got you. I got one script for that. Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. It says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity."
Read on.
"Where thou hast scattered us."
Because the Most High is behind all this. Read on.
"For a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God."
So that was us departing from the Lord. So we're going to have to pay today for all the sins that we did in the past. You want to come in?
No. That was good. That was all praises. All praises. What you got? Nahshon, that's the one you want to bring out? That was it. That's.
He got it.
I was going to go. No, go ahead,
You got something? Okay, I tell you what. All right. Because what it is that here in this captivity, we went through a lot of our oppression. We went through a lot of the things that we had to go through, and we paid the price. Like I said, drugs in our communities. The eugenics tree. Right. We went through a hell of a lot. We paid the price, and now as we come out of her, as we return, that now the judgment is going to be on them. We're coming out, and they're going down. We're going home, they're going into captivity. Right. You have to see that thing. You have to possess it. In your mind, you have to accept it. This is the will of God for me.
That's right.
So give me that in Psalm 75 and 8.
Psalms chapter 75 and verse 8. "For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup."
There's this cup in the Most High hand.
"And the wine is red."
Ho. Work with me now. Work with me. Read that from the top again, officer.
Verse 8.
Uh-huh.
"For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup."
So you got to imagine this thing. The Lord has this cup in his hand. And let's see what's in this cup. Read on.
"And the wine is red."
And the wine is what?
Red.
What is Esau in the Bible?
Red.
Okay, read on. This is Esau. Let's see who else is in there with him. Read on.
"It is full of mixture."
And it's full of the other nations. Read.
"And he poureth out of the same."
And the same thing that we went through, they're going to have to go through it. We coming out and they going in. Read on.
"But the dredge thereof are the wicked of the earth."
But the dredge thereof are the wicked of the earth. Those that's holding you in captivity. Those that's the enemy of God. Those that hate you are the ones that's going to have to drink of this cup. I'm telling you, brothers, we're going to have to shore up our minds on this thing and get our minds right. They going into captivity and we going home. Yeah, go ahead, bring it out.
Let me back cap up. Going to the same thing, Jeremiah 49:10. Did you want to bring that up? No.
Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse
10.
Verse 10.
This is going to make it crystal clear what the Most High talking about, what the script Cap just brought out. Read on.
"But I have made Esau bare."
So we talking about Esau. The Most High said he going to make them bare. They're going to lose everything. Read on.
"I have uncovered his secret places."
All the lies and the wickedness that they got going on, the Most High said he going to cover all that. Read on.
"And he shall not be able to hide himself."
And they can't, the wicked, you seeing it now. Trump, Biden, they going fighting over each other. They going back and forth. All the secrets are coming out of how wicked this nation is. Read on.
"His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not."
So basically saying his seed, his children, all his offspring, and his brethren, and his neighbors is not. Meaning Most High said they going to be spoiled. That means destroyed. He said he's not going to inhabit the land no more. That's what that means. He is not. He ain't not here no more.
He don't even exist.
He not going to exist no more. That's what that's going into. Most High said, I'm going to cut them all off. Read on.
Verse 11. "Leave thy fatherless children. I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me."
That's going to Israel. Read on.
Verse 12. "For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken."
So it wasn't for us to get the curses, okay? it was for us to be God's people and to teach and rule over the earth. So it wasn't we went against God, the laws of God. So it wasn't for us to be punished, but we going against God's laws. That's why we had to be punished. But it wasn't for us to get. Read on.
And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished.
Read that part again. And art thou, meaning Esau, and art thou he?
Verse 12. For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. Mm-hmm. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished?
So Esau, you think you gonna go unpunished? I punish my children. You think I'm not gonna punish you? Read on.
Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it.
So they're gonna drink of it. Meaning everything we read that the Most High prophesied that he gonna do to them, and he said he gonna cut them off. It's gonna happen.
That's right. So let's go right back, Officer Nahshon, back to Psalm 75, and we're going to read 8 again.
Psalms chapter 75 and verse 8. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture.
It is full of Esau in the other nations. So when we was in Psalms 83, when we go back, we'll read down and see who all these that have a hatred or hate the Most High. And you'll see who these nations that's in this cup of the Lord. Read on.
And he poured out of the same, but the dredge thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out.
And all the wicked of the earth, all the other nations, all them that hate the Most High. Let's go back to Psalms 83 again.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
That's what it said in Psalm, the other chapter, that it said they have came together against the righteous. It's saying it again here. Read on.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
And that's what they have been trying to stopping us for all this time since we've been here. But the Most High has put the Spirit in brothers, and brothers are coming home. That's why we were saying to y'all a while ago, welcome home. This is what we're doing. We're doing what is right in the sight of the Most High. We're doing the will of God. Read on.
They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom.
So these are the nations that's in the Lord's cup, that's in his hand, that's red and is filled with mixture. These are the other nations. These are the enemies of God. These are those that hate us, those that hate you. Read on.
The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes.
They had us in captivity. That's what we were saying earlier. Edom has us in captivity. These other nations had us in captivity. But what separates us from the Most High is when we fail to do what it is that we must do, and that is keep God's commandments. We're not asking you to be no CEO. We ain't asking you to go to the top of the company. We're just asking you to dwell safely with the Most High, under the shadows of the wings of the Most High, keeping the commandments of God. That should not be a struggle for any of us in here. We should learn and help and love one another as it's imparted in us to do. That's the will of God. Read on, also.
Verse 7. Gebal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot. Selah.
So all these nations are in the cup of the Lord. All these nations is going to have to pay a price for what they have done. That's what officer was touching on. Give me that and go to Job 21 and give me verse 20.
Job chapter 21 and verse 20. His eyes shall see his destruction.
So the other nations going to see. They're going to see when we take over the kingdom. They're going to see it themselves. Their own eyes is going to see. These are the children of God. Read on.
His eyes shall see his destruction, and he shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty.
He's going to have to drink of the dredge that's in this cup. These other nations going to have to drink it as we did. Like it said, it wasn't appointed unto us to drink it, but now they must drink it. Give me that down in verse 30.
Job chapter 21 and verse 30.
No, yeah, 21 and 30. Yes, sir.
That the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction.
That's their purpose. That's what they're here for. Is they fitted for destruction. That's right. That's what we have to understand. That's what they're here for. That the Most High brought us here. That's what he's telling us, that he brought us here. And when he set them over us, I think that's Romans 13 is what I want. 9.
13.
Is it 9? All right, hold on. Let me get that with you. Is it? Yeah. Hold on. No. The powers to be.
Oh, yeah, 13. Yeah, my bad.
Is it 13? All right. Start at verse 1.
Romans chapter 13 and verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers.
So we have to understand that we have to be subject to those that's over us. Read on.
For there is no power but of God.
But God has set things in order. That's what you'll find out dealing with the Most High. The Most High is about order. When you come in this truth, you're going to have to be about this order. He does everything that's decent, and he sets things in order. That's why there's no confusion with the Most High. Read on.
The powers that be are ordained of God.
So God set these people in and over us. So when we was brought here in our captivity, it wasn't for us to rest here. It wasn't for us to stay here. It was for us to get our minds right and get up out of here. Read on.
That's right. Verse 2. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power resisteth the ordinances of God.
So when you find yourself not doing things that God has ordained for us to do, like he gave us the commandments from the beginning, then you won't have to have these people that's ruling over you. But they over us because he ordained them to be over us to set us in order. Because when we go against the powers that be, we go against the Most High. Read on.
And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation.
Those that don't keep the commandments is not going to enter into their rest. Read on.
Verse 3. For rulers are not a terror to good works.
They're not a terror to good works for those that keep the commandments. That those that's learning how not to, thou shalt not kill thy brother. You know, doing what they're supposed to do, keeping the commandments. Read on.
But to the evil, wilt thou then not be afraid?
And then when they give you 40 years for two bags or 2 rocks, would you not be afraid of that judgment? Wouldn't you be afraid of that? They gave you 40 years for 2 crack rocks. Read on.
Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power?
Would you not be afraid of what Esau and the other nations can do to you? Read.
Do that which is good.
Keep God's commandments. Read on.
And thou shalt have praise of the same.
And then you can enter into your rest. Read.
Verse 4. For he is the minister of God to thee for good.
So God set him over us for us to be able to do good. He brought us into this captivity not for us to come here and do evil, to have hatred in our heart against our brother or sister, have hatred like that. Or to see your brother, you know, worrying about what you're doing to your brother, telling me he's not in my neighborhood, and you want to go over there, he wearing a different color shirt than you, and you're going to put him down. I'm telling you, we have to understand that we're to keep the commandments and live. Read on.
For he is the minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. For he beareth not the sword in vain.
There's real judgment that comes when you don't keep God's commandments. You can be sent up the road, as they call up the river for 40 years. Here, you can. Read on.
For he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil.
And so we're here just to get our minds right. This is not home. It's just to make sure that we do what it is that the Most High has commanded us to do. Give me that, Officer Nahshon, 1 Kings, chapter 8.
Verse 46.
Start at 44.
44?
Yeah, let's get all this. Let's get some of that.
1 Kings, chapter 8 and verse 44. If thy people go out to battle against their enemy.
So here we are in this captivity. And that's what we have to understand. We are in a battle. We are in a battle with those that hate us, that hate God, that hate our children. You don't see it like that because you pull up in the same parking lot with them. You don't see it like that because you go in and you enter the building with them. But they hate us and they hate the Most High. I'm not trying to get anybody to sit there and walk around and be full of hatred. But I'm just wanting you to understand what you're up against. And this is what they're letting us know. Read it from the top again. We are in what?
1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 44. If thy people go out to battle against their enemy, whithersoever thou shalt send them, and shall pray unto the Lord toward the city which thou hast chosen, and toward the house that I have built for thy name, then hear thou in heaven their prayer and their supplication, and maintain their cause.
And maintain their cause. And because we have to understand that we're going out against the people that we are in battle with, and they are your enemy. That's what we're doing. We're waging a war. And so he says that when I put you in this land, that these people ain't going to like you. They're going to hate you and me. I want you to understand. I want you to do something for me while you're there. Read on, Officer Nahshon.
Verse 46. If they sin against thee, for there is no man that sinneth not, and thou be angry with them, and deliver them to the enemy.
So the captivity that we was reading about earlier, the Most High had got angry with us. And so he delivered us up in captivity under Moab. That's what would happen. We would transgress, he'd get angry, and then he'd put us into captivity.
So that they carry them away captives unto the land of the enemy, far or near. Yet, if they shall bethink themselves.
That's what we have to do. We have to bethink ourselves here in this captivity and understand what we up against, what this battle is all about. That we have to endure this battle. Read on.
Yet, if they shall bethink themselves in the land, whether they were carried captives, and repent, and make supplication unto thee in the land of them that carried them captives, saying,
That's what officer was saying. It said that they had carried them away. You hear that? That they put us in chains. That's what the officer's letting you know. Don't forget about the thought, what they done to us. You know, you was conquered, you was hated. You know, treated, you know, like animals, to put it nicely.
And they ain't gonna give you that history. They gonna make you think, hey, your own people sold you to us. Now they gonna tell you, hey, yeah, we went and conquered y'all one by one. We went to Rome, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Byzantine Empire. We conquered y'all. You know, we went to war and we conquered y'all and we brought y'all over here. And then that's when we shipped y'all off the west coast of Africa. They ain't gonna give you the history.
Right. Again, that's that crafty counsel. That crafty counsel so that you forget what happened. To say, oh, the same nation sold each other. So what? So y'all can constantly be fighting against one another. But really, in reality, that's not even your people. But they're not telling you the truth because they don't want you to know the truth. Why? So they can continue to reign over you.
Absolutely. So the terrible things that Officer Yair was bringing out about them putting us in human farms. They don't tell you that history, that we was in human farms up in Brooklyn and places in New York, human zoos, where they came and they do bananas and peanuts at us. They fed our babies to gators. They kidnapped us from the plantation from our mothers and our fathers, raping our sisters, raping our mothers, raping us as children, as little boys, as little children. That's what they're going back to all again. History is repeating itself. This people is telling you who they are in the earth. That they are people who are fornicators. They're profane. They're nasty. They're the disease of the earth. And they're going back to child pornography. They're going back to child pedophilia. They're going back to those things. They're telling who they are. We're the only people that God says that can be righteous. Those people are unrighteous. So they are our enemies. You can't have, like the scripture said, can darkness derail with light? You come in the room, you cut the light on, darkness leaves.
Oh, yeah. So Officer Nahshon, finish that up. 47.
1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 47. Yet, if they shall bethink themselves in the land, whether they were carried captives, and repent,
and bethink themselves, read,
and make supplication unto thee in the land of them that carried them captives, saying, we have sinned.
That's what we understand. We went through the oppression. We went through the what is it, from preschool to prison. We endured the incarceration of a whole generation of people. I think it was an article came out. It said 1 of our 5 people of our people are in prison or something like that. That's a high number. That's a high number. I think they was bringing that out on the show the other night. That's a high number. Everybody at this table, one of us is in prison at this table. I'm telling you, that's extremely high. What are we doing? We're failing to keep God's commandments. And so we have to bethink ourselves. We have to renew our minds. We have to come here and change from what we're doing. No more us, even get down to a lot of things that we think is kind of okay. You know what I mean? It's kind of okay. You think, well, it's okay to watch this or kind of okay to watch that, meaning like, for an example, sports TV. It's kind of okay. But that is carrying us away. That's a doctrine in of itself. To keep our people asleep. You think you're winning with somebody, looking for a breakthrough. Talking about where my helmet at. Is that it, Officer Nahshon?
Saying, we have sinned and have done perversely. We have committed wickedness.
So we coming here to get our minds right, and we can come out and we can return back to the place where we want to go home to. So, Officer Nahshon, give me that in Luke chapter 1, verse 68. But before you do that, Officer Nahshon, let's get Matthew 6 and 24. I want to touch on something right here with that. Matthew 6 and 24.
Matthew chapter 6 and verse 24. No man can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other.
When you in Israel, being in captivity, you can't serve the Lord like you want to. We just heard, when we talked to a brother, say, where's the brother at? They say he had to go to work. You can't serve 2 masters. You can't be in a place of captivity and get rest too. You have to understand this thing, brothers. That's what we in. This is, we talking about I'm going to work. No, you're in captivity, bro. The day is the Sabbath of the Lord. This should be a day of rest for you. But I got to go to work. You can't read that from the top again. Hopefully get the understanding.
Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. No man can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one.
If you can't keep the Sabbath and do your job too. In captivity, they say you got to come to work. You got to come to work. We working. Either you're gonna love keeping the commandments, or you're gonna have to despise the other one. I can't. I gotta work. I gotta feed my family, bro. You can't serve 2 masters here. It ain't set up like that. Read on.
No man can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon.
You can't do both of them. It's set up where it's not possible. That's why we want to touch on Luke 1:68, and we'll get down to 74, because what it is that here we can't serve the Lord with fear like we want to, because of this captivity. We can't actually serve Him like we're supposed to. You might have a job. They say you got a job. Say but you got to keep your beard low, or you can't. You have to. You can't grow with so much hair or something. You can't even have a beard. And trim the mustache off. You can't keep the job. You can't do both of them. Let's go to Luke 1:68.
Luke chapter 1 and verse 68. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people.
That's what we want. We just want to be redeemed by keeping the commandments. We want to return. We want to get up out of here. Ain't nothing here. This is low living. We ain't living good. We ain't living good. This ain't good. Ain't nothing good about it in this place for us, other than us keeping the commandments. Other than that, ain't nothing. This is not a good place to dwell. Talking about I'm on the beach. You got to be kidding me. Read on.
Verse 69. and have raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David.
We need salvation. We need to be redeemed. We the one that need deliverance. You have to see that thing coming. You have to want that thing. You have to want deliverance. You don't be satisfied with the status quo. Talking about I got a lot of stacks. Don't fool yourself. What good is to gain the whole world and lose out on the kingdom? Read on.
Verse 70. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies.
That's what it was talking about earlier. That we're going to have to be saved from this place, brothers. There's no way that you can sit and accept that you're here and this is home. You're in a place of torment. You don't even get rest. Talking about I got me a good sleeping mattress. That mattress ain't helping you. All the hell you've been through. Talking about name your number. You got to be kidding me. Talking about I'm on 68. It ain't going to help you. Read on, officer. I'm sorry.
Verse 71. That we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us.
From all them that's in Psalms and 83 that hate us. And yes, they hate us. It's telling us that they hate us. I'm telling you. Don't let it pass by you, brothers. This thing will help us to be able to return. Read on, officer.
Luke chapter 1 and verse 72. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant.
Right, we was given the commandment. It's good to do them, to be just in your dealings with the Most High. If you be able to perform them like you should, that you don't have to stop keeping the Sabbath, because you know where you're not stopping keeping the Sabbath, but you have to leave from the brotherhood to go to work. It's good to perform them. It's good to fulfill those things that pleases the will of God. Read on.
The oath which he swore to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies.
That's what it's going to take, being delivered out of our hands of our enemies, that we may do what? Read.
Might serve him without fear.
That's the only way we're going to be able to deal with the Most High right. It's coming out from the hand of our enemies. You're never going to be able to serve him like you want to. You're never going to be able to keep the Sabbath like you should. You're never going to be able to rest like you want to. You got to go have to come out from under the hand of your enemies. That's the only way you're going to get some rest. You got to see him going down that you may go up. Anything short of that, you're not going to make it. But I'm telling you, brothers, that's the word I got for you. Let us return. Let us be mindful that we be able to serve the Lord with fear.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.